As mentioned last week, we have the Great Commission found in Matthew 28, the instructions given by Jesus to go just before he went to be with his Father. However, that's not the only instructions Jesus gave just before leaving his friends. We also have the words written in the Luke account. Let's read them. Jesus said, "You are my witnesses of these things. I'm going to send you what my Father has promised, but stay in the city until you have been clothed with power from on high." When he had led them out to the vicinity of Bethany, he lifted up his hands and blessed them. And while he was blessing them, he left them and was taken up into heaven. Then they worshipped him and returned to Jerusalem with great joy. And they stayed continually at the temple, praising God. Luke 28:45 to 53. Now, this passage doesn't get as much airtime as the Matthew account, but it could be as equally important. Jesus' instructions is to stay in the city until you have been clothed with the power from on high. And that's exactly what they did. Luke tells us that they stayed at the temple praising God. They waited for what Luke records in chapter 1 of Acts, Pentecost. Now, all of us, we are in an enforced time when we're having to stay in the city. We're in lockdown. And what if at this time God is saying to each one of us, while we're staying in the city, that he wants to clothe us once again with power from on high? What if God is taking the opportunity to prepare us for the next season, whenever that may begin? What if this time in lockdown is waiting for a fresh Pentecost to come to us, the church? If that is so, then what are we to do during this time to give space over to God? There's so much to do, so much to be concerned about, but can I encourage you to take time to be with God? Listen to God. Write down what he's saying and share with others. I believe there is so much we can learn from this enforced isolation that can almost fast forward our growth in things of the Spirit if we give God our attention. So this week we're going to focus on lessons from those isolated in different Bible narratives to see what God might be saying to us at this time. If you wish, you can comment on which ones I might be talking about this week. Who was isolated in the Bible? One clue, two involve a prison. Anyway, enough of that. Let us, as I come to the end, therefore start this week in prayer as we open ourselves up once again to God. Why don't you just open your palms like that and close your eyes as I lead you in this prayer from Ephesians. Let's pray. I pray that out of his glorious riches he may strengthen you with power through his Spirit in your inner being, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power together with all the saints to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God.